Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the first wave of vehicles for the new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe line of figures from Mattel. This is of course based on the new He-Man cartoon that came out on Netflix. You can see it up here in the corner of the packaging. I would say around a month or so ago at this point. Pretty fun show. Definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't already. And we have two vehicles in this assortment, obviously two motorcycles, one for He-Man, one for Skeletor, and they're in this relatively new open style of packaging. And I say new because what we're used to for He-Man Masters of the Universe is usually like a box with a large window, something like that. So it's relatively new for He-Man to be coming in this kind of open style packaging. I mean, the bike and the figure are pretty much just almost completely exposed, just kind of tied down as you can see here. And then the weapons are still kind of like bubbled on card back here. But it is just kind of neat. So yeah, both of these, we have He-Man with the Ground Ripper and Skeletor with Painthor. So I think it's supposed to be like a play on Panthor and Pain because he's a villain. But I honestly read it as like Paint Thor, like he's painting things. So I'm sure that's not what they intended, but that's how I read it at first. And I'm like, Painthor, what's he painting? Is he taking up odd jobs on the weekend to make some extra cash? I don't know what's going on. The Ground Ripper, I believe, is a take on the original Road Ripper, which was a trike vehicle that He-Man used to ride, and it had one of those like pull ties, and then it would go. Obviously, I don't think there's anything like that here. I think it's just kind of a standard motorcycle, but it's kind of fun to see homages, to things from the previous line or the original line, which I think is kind of fun. So packaging, like I said, pretty simplistic. On the back here, you just see a picture of the motorcycle, and then they show off the power attack features for He-Man. Now, I'll be honest, as far as I know, the figures that are included here are exactly the same as the He-Man and Skeletor we saw in the main assortment, with the exception of the color schemes. But I believe the actual mechanics and the buildup of the figure is exactly the same, but we'll check that out as we go. So I'm going to go ahead, get these two out of the packaging here, and we're going to take a closer look. So here are the two bikes out of the packaging. I'm going to go ahead and put Skeletor off to the side for a moment, and we will focus in on He-Man first. A lot of nice molded in detail here, as you can see. Not a ton of different paint applications. It is mostly green, but you have a little bit of dark gray here. You have a little bit of gray on the wheels. Now the wheels are just plastic. They're not rubber or anything like that, but they roll nice. You have some, I believe this is a different piece of plastic here for kind of the beak with some orange paint there for the eyes. And then these talons up here are a different piece of plastic as well. So like I said, not a ton of paint applications, but overall I think he looks pretty good. He has these little pieces here. It's molded in so that he won't fall over. He still rolls very nicely, but just if it's like a built-in kickstand. You also have a cool little peg here on the side so you can store the sword. So we go ahead and unpeg this. It's the same one that uses to peg onto his back, just pegs in right there. And I believe it's the exact same sword that came with the normal He-Man, but of course this one is done in solid yellow. So not too much going on there. Let's go ahead, let's take He-Man off the bike so we can take a look at him. So an interesting color scheme. I think this is supposed to be like a reference to classic He-Man, because if you notice, he's kind of got the red boots, he's got the orange gauntlets, he's got the gray harness, but then I guess because they couldn't make him naked, they had to go ahead and put the brown shirt and pants on him. But I think it's an okay color scheme. I think it's kind of a fun nod to the original, since they needed kind of an alternate color scheme to go with. But like I said, it's the exact same figure. So it's got the ball joint for the head, it's got a hinge here, it's got the swivel at the hand or wrist, and then it's got the spring-loaded gimmick here, so you can side to side, and then it's got the kind of hinge movement here in the hip, and then everything is a solid piece after that. Now you can go ahead and put this on his back if you would like. And it's a pretty solid figure. Here is the normal assortment He-Man, and like you can see here, it is the same figure, just different color scheme. But it's an interesting new color scheme. The sword that came with the original release I think is much nice as far as the paint applications go, a little bit nicer there, since this is just solid yellow. I feel like if they were going for a nod to the original He-Man, yellow is an odd choice. I would have much preferred just like a solid gray plastic, even if it was all just molded in, light gray plastic. I mean, knowing how toys work, it must have been molded out of the same like sprue that had like this piece or this piece, and then they can just cast it all in yellow, something like that. That's my only guess. But I would have much rather preferred it be like a light gray. But I still think it's a cool figure. And like I said, you can see the similarity here. So let's go ahead. Now you can't really, I guess you can, yeah, you can actually leave the sword on his back. And you can move these around. The handlebars do move around a little bit, so if you need to position it so that the hand can sit on here. And actually, because it is the same figure, you should be able to try the normal He-Man on this bike as well. So if you want to switch them out, you should absolutely be able to do that because it is the exact same figure, so you should have no issue whatsoever doing that. So you can actually have the sword on the back if you'd like, or you can peg it into the side if you'd like. But yeah, that's a pretty cool little bike. So here is Skeletor on his bike, and he's got kind of the low ride, you know, like extended frame here with the wheel all the way out front. We can take a closer look at the Painthor head. Nice bit of fluorescent green for the eye there. And again, a lot of molded in detail. He's got these, I guess these are supposed to be like his front claws, kind of a separate piece that clips in there. Again, just plastic wheels that spin around. But overall, I think it looks pretty cool. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't have a great place to peg in the Havoc staff like He-Man has for his sword. I don't know why this is hollow. Maybe they intend you to put this in here. I'm not really sure. I guess you can kind of do that. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it does seem like this is open and there's no other real reason for that. I'd never noticed this before either, but I just noticed on the Havoc staff, there's like a skull down here on the bottom, which is actually kind of cool. Still hollow in the back, which is a bit of a bummer. But all in all, a nice accessory. So let's go ahead. We will take Skeletor off of the handlebars. And these can also move around, so if you need to, you can actually kind of push those in if you kind of like that look better. But so they'll actually fit the hand, you can kind of swing them out. And you have some nice gold paint here in the front, which I think looks really good. A little bit of gold paint here. You have some green paint down here. So honestly, I would say he's probably got more paint than He-Man's bike does. Just kind of a really interesting design. Like I said, it's weird and also not weird for He-Man to have motorcycles because, like, obviously with the original line, it was a definite mix of, you know, sword and sorcery and science fiction because they had all kinds of vehicles and various things. So, like, whatever they wanted to put in the line, they did. So motorcycles are not totally outside the realm of possibility for Masters, but at the same time, it seems a little bit more modern. I don't know. But I like it. Honestly, I do. Here is the Skeletor. He has got a mostly black and gold color scheme, but he does still have the pop of purple here for his shroud. He's got the glowing red eyes. Again, I wish there was like some kind of black wash or something because the molding of his teeth gets lost. I wish there was something they could do to kind of accentuate that. But I do like the big gold ram head here. And again, it's the same figure, so it's got the same articulation. You've got the rotation. Head does not move at all. He's got the same spring-loaded gimmicks, so you can do that around. And then he's got the same hips. Oh, he's actually got... Oh, wow. He's actually got a rotation down here at the ankle. I don't know if... Let's bring in the other one. I don't know if the other Skeletor has that. Now I'm really interested. Does he have a rotation? He does. I didn't know he had a rotation in his ankle. That's really cool. There you go. Learn something new. But as you can see, it is the exact same figure, just a different color scheme here. Let's go ahead and give him the Havoc staff. Now, I think it's kind of funny. This Havoc staff is a little bit more purple than this one. This one is kind of a blue. But I guess it makes sense because this is the same kind of blue for the like harness and the arm gauntlets and the leg gauntlets. So that's all kind of a consistent color there. And then he's just got kind of a purple over here because everything is kind of black and gold over on this side. I really can't believe he's got that leg articulation. I don't think He-Man has any secret articulation points. No, he doesn't. But there you go. Learn something new every day. So yeah, I think the figure definitely looks cool. I really like this color scheme a lot. I think these are really cool. I like these bikes a lot. Like I said, when I first saw bikes being included with Motu figures, it doesn't feel like it fits, but overall, I think it's kind of neat, and they're definitely references to things we've seen previously in the line, which I think is a lot of fun. And I really like the color schemes they've given these new figures. So even if you have the basic assortment figures, even though they are technically the same figure, they're new color schemes, and it's something fun. And they could have just given us He-Man again, and then you'd have two. And I appreciate that they did something different just to make it seem a little bit more collectible and a little bit more of an incentive to pick these up. I do wish the sword was kind of a solid gray instead of yellow or just some other kind of color scheme. But I'm also noticing that the hands here on He-Man at the wrist are starting to kind of pull apart, and I don't know if that's meant to happen or if they just kind of move around, but it's been from connecting them to the handlebars. So I'm hoping that's not a problem. I hope that doesn't break over time. I hope that's just some elasticity because they know they have to connect to the handlebars, so they kind of built that in there. But otherwise, I think these are really fun. I like them a lot. They're $20 each, which makes sense because you're basically getting a $10 figure plus a $10 vehicle. I think the price is pretty fair there. But yeah, I like them a lot. I really, really like the design of both of these. I think they're fitting of the characters. I think they make sense. And the fact that they're homages to, you know, vehicles or characters previously associated with Motu, I think is really, really fun. So I think they're neat. I definitely say give them a shot. I've been really enjoying this line more than I thought I would. It's definitely more kid-oriented, but I think there's definitely fun here for collectors as well. And yeah, they're just really neat. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.